In this video, I want to go over the number one question you can ask yourself to accelerate and supercharge your self-improvement journey. And ideally, you want to ask this question as many times as possible throughout the day. So you should keep it in the back of your mind. And that question is, what can I do right now? Let me explain to you what I mean by this question and why I believe it's so powerful. Firstly, to explain why I think that this question is such a powerful question to ask yourself, I think it's important to go over the past, the present, and the future, and how much control we actually have over them. Let me explain what I mean. In terms of the past, I'm sure we can agree that we have no effect on it whatsoever. The past is in the past, and it's been done. The future, on the other hand, we have some sort of control over it, but not a direct control. We can say to ourselves, I'm going to go to the gym tomorrow, but we can't really directly control what our future self will do. For example, what if something happens that makes you not able to go to the gym tomorrow? Something beyond our control. Or maybe you'll just get lazy and you won't want to go to the gym tomorrow in the future. So we can plan for the future, but we can't really control it directly. For the present, you have 100% of the choice on what you do right now. This is where the question relates to. Right now, I could say to myself, I'm going to go to the gym, or I'm going to eat healthy, or I'm going to sit up straight with better posture. See, I have the power to do that right now because it's in the present. This is why it's so powerful to ask yourself this question. And now these answers to the question, sit up straight with better posture, that might seem a bit arbitrary, but you can relate it to your goals. So let's say your goal is to get a better body or to get stronger. You could say to yourself, I'm going to go to the gym right now. I'm going to go eat healthy right now. If you're about to have dinner, you could say that to yourself. Or if your goal is to get better at socializing, and you're outside on a walk and you're about to pass a group of people, you could say, what can I do right now? I could talk to them. I could say hi to them, have a small conversation with them. This question can be asked so many times throughout the day, and 99% of the time I even think 100% of the time you can find yourself some sort of answer. You can even make an answer such as worrying less or sitting up straight with better posture. I mean, that can be done pretty much all the time. Having this sort of mindset and acting on this throughout the day, every day, can really build up and accumulate. And this is why it supercharges your self-improvement journey. Because if you act on this question and you ask yourself this question many times throughout the day, every day, I mean, imagine the effect it has on a long-term basis. In a week's time, in a month's time, it can completely change you as a person in a better sort of way. I'm definitely not saying that the past and the future aren't useful to us for self-improvement. They're of course useful to us, and in fact we're going to use them to actually apply the framework, and I'll explain that in a second. But first, the idea is the past, we learn from our mistakes and our successes, and the future, we use that for setting goals, and it can also be used for motivation and ambition. You could say to yourself, I want to be like that in the future. That's motivation. And how do I do that? Well, I'm going to set this goal. And in fact, like I explained earlier, your present actions can be based on achieving those goals. So if your goal is to get better at socializing, like I explained earlier, and you're outside on a walk, I'm going to go talk to that person right now. Now let's actually apply some framework that we can use for this question of what can I do right now. Firstly, you should be asking yourself the question as many times as possible throughout the day, and try to give yourself a reasonable answer to the question. I mean, sometimes you won't even change anything. Sometimes you're already doing something that fits in line with your goals. So it won't always be the case that you need to change something. But usually there is something that you can do that's kind of the step up. And that's really the way that you supercharge your self-improvement, because there's something that you're comfortable with, or that's you're sort of comfortable with, that you're doing right now. But then there's something that step up, that little step up that if you do consistently, then you're really going to accelerate as a person. The next thing that you could do is reflect on the past and plan for the future. So you could do this every, some specific period, maybe weekly, monthly, daily if you want to. This is sort of on the line with journaling as well. So if you already journal, then you're probably reflecting on the past and planning for the future as well. But that can be applied to the question as well. Like if you plan for the future and change your goals, then the answer to the question, what can I do right now? It would update, and if you reflect on the past, on the other hand, then you're seeing what kind of worked well, and maybe there's some things that you did that you thought would work well but haven't worked well. So then you just update. You update those, and the answer to the question will change in that aspect as well. Now, what if you're comparing two different actions which could be undertaken right now? And that might be a little more complicated than if you're just asking yourself, what can I do right now? So if you're deciding, okay, well, this is the easy case. If you're deciding between eating a chocolate cake and not eating a chocolate cake, and your goal is to lose weight, I mean, that's obvious what the better answer is to the question, what can I do right now, when comparing the two actions. But if they're both in line with your goals, that can be slightly more complicated. Like, let's say you're picking between going to the gym or working on a project right now, and they're both in line with your goals. I mean, that's a way that you could look at it, is you could ask yourself, what means more to me right now? So let's say maybe you're trying to build yourself more up at the gym and get stronger. Then you could say to yourself, okay, I'm going to go to the gym right now instead. But maybe you're wanting to work on the project instead because that means more to you, so you pick that. Really, you should be... A way that you can kind of counteract this is to actually plan your day out and plan which portions of the day you're going to go to the gym or work on a project, and that's a better way to do it, and that means that you get to manage it more effectively and actually consistently do both sorts of work at the appropriate time. The existentialist philosopher Jean-Paul Sartre wrote about life choices in one of his books, The Humanism of Existentialism, and in it he described different life choices that someone could make, and he specifically described one where you can't use your previously held values to actually weigh up the decisions. Like, they're complicated in that sense, and maybe both of the choices are in line with your goals and values. So you have to have a different sort of way to actually make the choice. So what he suggests in that book is to choose, that is, invent. He says that we should actually invent the outcome ourselves because we are in control completely of our life. So when we have two different choices, we actually invent the outcome ourselves. And maybe we could ask ourselves, what kind of person do I want to be? That could be a way that you could actually make the decision when you can't really apply your previously held values to it or your goals. So that's another sort of decision that you might have to choose between, where you choose between two actions, but you can't really weigh up, using your goals or your values. Then you actually invent the outcome yourself. Now I'm going to go over some examples of what you could actually answer for the question, what can I do right now? So this is just a list of examples. Some of them might relate to your goals, some of them might not. But this is just more so to get an idea of the style of answers that you could give and the style of actions that you could do. Sit up straight with better posture. Go to the gym. Do that extra bench press set. Focus that extra bit harder on the project you're doing. Cook dinner instead of ordering food. Go talk to that girl. Stop your excessive overthinking. Take the turn on your walk that's more hilly or uncomfortable. Finish your shower with cold water. Focus on speaking clearly without stammering. Maintain eye contact with the person you're talking to. Don't drink that beer. Answer the question will not always be to do some work at any given time. Like, sometimes it'll just be to relax and to do nothing or meditate even. You don't want to excessively overwork, and I'm definitely not saying with this question that you should be doing something 24/7 that's, some sort of work or project or gym. Sometimes it's actually important to relax and to do nothing. It clears your mind and lets you think about, the important things. It does seem excessive at first, and it will be actually excessive at first. But after asking yourself this question for about a week or even less than that, you find yourself just doing it automatically. When comparing two different things, you automatically think which one is more in line with my goals, which one, without bullshitting yourself, you kind of think, okay, this is the one that I have to do, that I should be doing anyways. That's the one I'm going to do. So it will be excessive at first, but you find that it really incorporates into your life quite well, and then it helps you not bullshit around, and not make excuses. It really helps in that aspect.